Excited to be here this week chatting about habits, Atomic Habits, the book. It's right here to my side that we're going to be reading as part of the Impact Driven Leader Book Club. I share about the book tomorrow podcast that's releasing, introduce it, share my history. And it was really funny. I did not realize the impact. I knew it was a book that impacted me a lot till I was reading it again to introduce it here. Did I realize, wow, it's made a big impact. But I'm excited today to discuss habit stacking. But with that, share a little bit that I read this morning in a book that I'm reading as part of my daily reader. And this idea, let me go back to habit stacking. James Clear shares the idea that, if we stack habits through the year, it's been whether through James or some other authors that have, shared that, between 65 and 70 days to develop a new habit. Well, if you think about that, that's 5 new habits through the year. The caution is not trying to do too much all at once, because that leads us to a place of overwhelm. That is a place of, oh my goodness, I can't handle all of that. And that's what I want to share with you this morning. This idea of what are we doing to build habits, create habits, and also so much more. Let me trying to find my notes. Bear with me. And the kind of impetus of this is don't be in a rush. Growth comes from the process. If we take on 5 new habits and like, oh, I have to start all these things today. I have to, I share a little bit about eating right and reading and writing, and all of a sudden you're overwhelmed. And just start with one. And then once that becomes a habit and it's ingrained and you're like, I can't go about my day without it, then add in another and another. And through the end of the year, you got 5 new habits. This morning I was reading in this book. It's called You Little Jerk by Larry Hubatka. And it's a book that I've had for a couple years now. And I decided to throw it into my morning read. And Larry shares this line, which I'm going to share as my thought of the day, is stop trying to shortcut growth because you're impatient. He shares that as part of a conversation with his daughter, one of his daughters. He got 4. And he was trying to, change her. Like, just let her grow, let her develop. And that kind of goes along as the captions of this. Don't be in such a rush. Growth comes from the process. Well, the second point that Larry shares right before that, stop trying to shortcut growth because you're being impatient, is remind yourself that growth comes from the process along the way, not just from the results. As I read this morning and decided to share, realizing, man, this is all about habit stacking. It's all about the habits that we create, that we stack upon each other. Instead of trying to be instantly changed for the better, just make small little adjustments, small little atomic habit adjustments. By the end of it, man, you're in such a different trajectory. You won't even recognize your previous because everything's changed. Stop trying to shortcut growth because you're being impatient. Growth comes from the process. Hope you got value from this today. Can't wait to finish up tomorrow as a podcast release and officially invite you to read Atomic Habits with us, the Impact Driven Leader Book Club, and would love to have you add a new habit. Find a new habit here mid-year, something new, different. I haven't decided what mine's going to be. I should find something. Maybe it ties into my word of the year, B. I'll have to think more about that. Maybe do some yoga. Maybe. Anyways,